Good morning, delegates, and good morning, all those following AI Field Day. I really want to thank the Tech Field Day community for having us here. It's been a lot of fun. And what I want to talk about today, though, given the mass adoption of software everywhere in our lives and all things have become software, a lot of us are now running potentially software teams. And if you're running a software team, have you ever had that like deep down inside thought that maybe this software could be the project could be going a little smoother? You're not sure why they're stumbling over certain things. You've had this like uneasy feeling that maybe your team could be actually doing a better job at producing the software. I think we all have been there. So what I want to talk to you today is actually about that software development lifecycle process. And I'll go ahead and give a little intro. My name is Calvin Hendryx-Parker. I am co-founder and CTO of 6 Feet Up. 6 Feet Up is a premier Python and AI agency based out of the United States, and we specialize in solving hard problems. What's interesting is when you come across hard problems like that, you need unique capabilities. And some of our uniques are that we have more experience per capita than any other agency. We really only focus on senior talent. We've got 25 years of experience over 12 different industries, and we've also got a hybrid project management approach because we all know waterfall probably isn't the answer, but sometimes agile isn't either. But let's talk about a story that exemplifies the software development process and why it's important to talk about improving it. We had a client come to us before they actually even wanted to work with us to say, we really think your team looks like a well-refined, well-oiled software development machine. How can our software development teams look more like you? This is an organization that had grown over acquisition, literally over 100 years. They were consisted of more than 30 different sub-organizations, all operating in their own little silos, and all actually having software development teams along the way. They didn't do a lot of sharing between them, and so they said they wanted to be able to actually perform and have the software development process look more like a well-oiled machine. Well, in thinking about that for them, we had to look at those kind of root causes. This is something we've stumbled into. We're a software agency. We're not we don't consult on process management necessarily. We're not typically a product type company, but we felt like there was actually an opportunity here to help some other team perform at a higher level. Without necessarily having to hire or fire, thinking that we can actually take the existing developers who are in on those groups and turn them into better developers. But looking at what actually goes wrong in most of these cases, these are kind of our hypothesis. As we were going through the process of getting ready to talk to these teams, how can we look for their inefficient processes? Are they using CI/CD? Are there manual intervention steps? Are there even like low-hanging fruit things that could be fixed just in the operations of these kinds of teams? Are they using modern tools? How long does it take to onboard a new developer into that environment and have them push a piece of code to fix a problem into production? Is that a matter of days, weeks, months? In some cases, it was months to make that happen. Are they, mired in technical debt and complex code bases? Have they produced a giant bowl of spaghetti along the way? Accumulated technical debt over time it becomes something that you either pay off or you never innovate again. So how do we approach that? And then looking at team skill gaps and collaboration issues. And I encourage every one of you who maybe runs a software team to think about the skill and the training aspect of the people who are on your team. The people are your most important asset. They're the ones who are producing this software for you, and you want them to have all the right tools and be well equipped to actually solve these kinds of problems. So with this specific client, we took a 2-month journey looking at their teams. Given they had over 30 existing software teams, we didn't think we could interview all those 30 teams at once. So we asked for a good sampling of teams that might be willing to talk to us about this. And so looking at that, we split it into 5 of the sub-teams. We coordinated interviews. We did over 3 hours of interviews with each team. And even when we had those teams available to us, we didn't always have all the people on the team. We had kind of a sampling of the people. It was really hard to reach all the people at once. Then after those 3 hours, comparing, compiling, looking at all the various notes we had, we came down to evaluating on 19 different themes, and I'll touch on that a little later. But we take each of those teams and we give them a score, a ranking somehow, so we can have a comparison against each of those themes. And we'll talk again about what those themes are. Making a chart now that we can actually have like a heat map and some radar charts and be able to compare one team to another and see where one team has some strengths and maybe another team could use some assistance. And then we developed our recommendations and posted those recommendations. Again, a 2-month journey. It would really be nice if this didn't take 2 months and more teams had this kind of capability available to them. So again, what if we could speed this up? What if this could be actually given to every member on every software development team inside of every organization? What if they could do it in under an hour? And what if they could actually, get candid answers without having to worry about, saying something bad in front of your boss? It'd be nice to be able to get that level of true feedback, which is kind of rare in this day and age. And so going from that manual, 2-month process, could we take this down to a 1-hour type survey? And so that's actually what we did. We took all that knowledge that we built around this process and we turned it into a product we're calling BEST, which is our best enterprise software techniques. That is the set of online surveys so we could try and automate this, onboard multiple teams, multiple software development groups inside of each of those teams, have them take the various assessments across the various 4 stages, 19 units, give them that access to that data that they need to make better decisions, and actually allow them to understand the interactions between the various teams that are happening. Now, you don't have to use our software necessarily to understand this. I really hope everyone takes a look at these various stages, units, and data points and it can even make up their own evaluations on this, or use it as a starting point to understand where your teams have opportunity for and growth and building a better software product for those teams. So looking at build, execute, streamline, and transform, these are our 4 units across those 4 stages across those 19 units, where each of these build on one another. If you think about that build stage, you need to focus on those table stakes before you even go into that next level. So things like access control, issue identification about the process, how long does it take to onboard a new developer into the environment, culture actually comes into play here. This is not strictly a technical only type evaluation. You need to be looking at your teams with a very holistic lens and a view to understand what's going on deeper in the team and trying to identify if there are issues that could actually be worked out. And then you can move into those other stages. It'll probably make more sense. I'll go into some of the reports here. One of the more helpful reports we found was a heat map like this, where we could look at all 19 sets of those data points and quickly identify where we see opportunities for improvement. So taking a look at those teams we were evaluating, we had some teams that are actually higher performing than others in certain areas. So specifically, like say security. Maybe this team has got a yellow kind of mediocre score for that security area. Give them recommendations. Actually, some of the recommendations came out to be that the team should form cross-team guilds around specific domains. Like, for example, maybe they need a DevOps guild inside of the organization so that teams that are weaker in that area can learn from teams that are actually stronger on that DevOps area. Looking at the recommendations, we actually build in the ability for the organization and the managers to go in and dive deeper onto each of the sections or the areas. Looking at, for example, this was for orchestration. So are they using tools like Kubernetes or any kind of infrastructure as code to orchestrate their environments? And then giving them an evaluation. And even so, we want to have the evaluation taken by every member of the team. Some members may not be familiar with orchestration. There's actually an opportunity for them to say they don't know. And that actually gives you another signal, another piece of feedback as to whether the whole team is actually kind of rowing together as a unit and are aware of the processes. They don't have to be operating that process specifically, but they probably should be aware that it exists and that they are following some best practices. And then looking at those teams and comparing them on radar charts makes it really clear where one team can start helping out another. So you can see here that team 3, again, lower on security, where team 1 and 2 could probably be helping them out. Maybe they've got, maybe they're not using password vaults. Maybe they've got unencrypted secrets someplace. Now they can also kind of start comparing notes, where before they were each individual silos. And I think you see this happening over and over again inside of software teams, inside of organizations in the enterprise especially. So I want to thank you all for hopefully now looking at the future and improving your software development teams. I really want to make sure we enhance that software development lifecycle process and make this a great journey for all of us together. You can check it out actually at sixfit.com/best. That will actually give you that whole framework, the 4 units, the 19 stages. I believe there's a white paper download there as well. You don't need to use my software to do this, but I do want you to improve your teams. Thank you very much.
Excellent.